We talk about the American dream and want to tell the world about the American dream. But what is that dream, in most cases, but the dream of material things? I sometimes think that the United States, for this reason, is the greatest failure the world has ever seen.
We are here today because the American dream is decidedly a nightmare for too many citizens, and people have had enough.
We don't have enough money in this country to address the needs of the middle class, working families, senior citizens, children, and veterans, turning the American dream into a nightmare.
It's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it.
We did not lose faith in the American dream. We lost faith in ourselves. A dream cannot exist apart from the dreamer. Therefore, it can only be manifest through the hands and minds of those who dare to dream. A dream is akin to a belief, be it a belief in a fundamental axiom or basic truth, or a belief in something transcendent or greater than ourselves. Belief is synonymous with faith, and to say that we, as a people, have lost our faith is a vast understatement. The very word itself is maligned, as many find themselves unable to detach it from the religious fervor it seems to hold. This reaction to the word is, in and of itself, an example of the choices we have made, the choice to dispose of our ideal and to allow resentment to replace redemption. The deflation of faith in ourselves, collapses back to our dreams, and eventually to our collective dream, that which binds us to one another. The concept of a dream has also been denigrated to something unrealistic, childish, or delusional. Our increasingly reductionist world sees anything intangible or hypothetical as less than real, and therefore less meaningful. But that which is meaningful to you can take on a reality of its own and shape your very existence. The American dream has always been one of opportunity, one of potential, and one of freedom. It is simply the ability to dream, a luxury of thought that we take for granted. A dream is defined only by the parameters that you give it, and therefore it becomes yours. It was never about the white picket fence and the perfect house unless you wanted it to be. When you peer out across the landscape of life, this country, our culture, and your eyes are met only with oppression, emptiness, and nihilism, it is merely your gaze reflected back upon you as you stare into yourself. If you see no dream, it is because you yourself are lacking. The importance of the conscious dream cannot be overstated. It is that which attracts the present to the future, creating a bridge of possibility. What could be resides within a realm of uncertainty until you decide to give it form. But with a dream also comes purpose, which implies responsibility and direction towards a goal. Dreaming is not a passive process. It carries with it a call to action in order to manifest that dream. To dream is to burden yourself with not only your current inadequacies, but also with the labor that it will take to correct them. It isn't the arbitrary, childish musings of a naive mind, but the unifying of the present with a possible future. The dream is also not without sacrifice, a sacrifice many people deem not worth the risk or are too afraid to make. So the dream is disposed of, and with it, your personal duty to yourself and your peers. The dream dies only when the dreamer ceases to dream. The belief in that ideal begins to fade, and our faith in a better tomorrow, in a transcendent goal, wanes indefinitely. No death is without mourning, and no mourning without suffering. What can take the place of an ultimate ideal, other than something comparably inadequate or dangerously opposed? This suffering occupies the vacuous space that remains, and the rotting corpse of your ideal reeks of dissatisfaction, envy, and bitterness. Your worldview becomes one seen through a scratched lens, warped by the resentment of your own self-deception and betrayal. The death of the dream means the death of the will to improve, replaced by the willingness to let things decay. At the base of our culture lies this exact tale, one of responsibility, the forthright shouldering of inevitable suffering, redemption from it, and what happens to he who betrays the ideal. The American dream is your individual dream, and when you fail to dream, you fail yourself and your community. A faith in that dream is what maintains the spirit of the individual, whilst binding us together as a free people with a common narrative. A future without a dream, without a vision, is no future at all, but merely a slow death. A resurrection of faith and a rescuing of purpose is required for the dream, your dream, to once again take shape. Most everyone believes in something, but to go beyond belief and into the realm of faith requires a sacrifice of self, a willingness to fall at the feet of the transcendent ideal and to find purpose in its pursuit. You could not hope for a place with more freedom, more opportunity to align yourself with that idea, in hopes of not only improving your existence, but the existence of those who surround you. You can become an authority over the future and command the tides of change, or cower into corruption. There is meaning to be found where it is sought, and while meaning may not be tangible, it is no less real than that which is. May we strip the American dream of the contrived plastic polish that has ignited our resentment against it, and lay bare the truth that lies at its core. It is far more than a materialistic notion, but rather a framework for a functioning society where the freedom to pursue your individuality is paramount, and the progress of civilization itself is dependent on it. Without a dream, we are suspended in time and doomed to stagnation. Revivify the past and compose the future.